Hi, welcome to Storytime with Gigi. Today we're going to be reading another Disney friendship story, A Treasury of Tales. I love these collections. Our story today comes from Finding Nemo, and our story is called Nemo and the Ghostfish. Have a great day, Nemo, Marlin said as he hugged his son. Goodbye. He and Dory were dropping Nemo off at school. Are you feeling ready to learn? I'm feeling it, Nemo replied enthusiastically. That's what I like to hear, said Marlin. Now go on and expand your mind. Beef up the brain. Flex your mental muscle. All right, Nemo exclaimed. I will, just as soon as you let go. Marlin realized he was still hugging his son. Oh, right, Marlin said with a chuckle. With one final squeeze, he let go. Nemo went to join his classmates and his teacher, Mr. Ray. Bye, Dad, the little clownfish called out. Bye, Dory. See you after school. Nemo loved school. So did his friends, Tad, Pearl, and Sheldon. How could they not when Mr. Ray made everything so much fun? He took the class exploring all over the reef. Every day, Nemo and his classmates got an up-close look at all kinds of sea life. Today, Mr. Ray took them to a clearing on the ocean floor. Okay, explorers, he said, now it's time to do a little exploring on your own. Let's see if each of you can find a shell. Then we'll identify them together. The youngsters fanned out. Nemo searched in the shadow of some coral. Pearl peeked into algae. Sheldon dug into the sand. Tad was the first of Nemo's friends to find something. Hey, guys, he cried, look at this. Nemo, Pearl, and Sheldon swam over to the butterfly fish. They crowded around Tad and stared in wonder at the gleaming white shell he held in his fin. Cool, said Sheldon. It's heart-shaped, Nemo exclaimed. It's so pretty, said Pearl. Where did you find it? Tad pointed to a cave. In there, he said. I'll show you. Maybe there are more. Tad darted toward the cave entrance. Yeah, said Pearl, following him. I want to find one too. Me too, cried Sheldon, swimming after them. Are you coming, Nemo? He called. Nah, replied Nemo. You guys go on. He wanted to find a shell that was different from everybody else's. Only a few minutes had passed before Nemo heard an odd noise. He looked up and saw Tad, Pearl, and Sheldon bolting out of the cave at full speed, screaming very loudly. What's the matter? Nemo asked. It's a barracuda, an eel. Sheldon shook his head. No, worse, he replied. He was shaking and his eyes were wide with fear. It's a ghostfish. Yeah, right, Nemo replied. Then he noticed Tad's fin was empty. Where's your shell? He asked. Tad looked down. Aw, shucks, he said in his voice, heavy with disappointment. I was going to give it to my mom. Then he peered into the cave. I must have dropped it in there, but I'm not going back for it. No way. Not with that ghostfish on the loose. Nemo looked at the dark cave opening. Don't worry, he told Tad. I'll find your shell. Without looking back, the little clownfish swam bravely into the cave. See, he said to himself, nothing to be afraid of, just a dark underwater cave. Nemo ventured deeper into the cave, scanning the sandy bottom for Tad's shell. Then he froze. On the cave wall next to him was a huge, fish-shaped shadow. Nemo took a breath. Stay calm and be polite, he whispered to himself. Excuse me, Mr. Ghostfish, or is it Ms. Ghostfish? A ghost fish, a tiny voice said nervously. Where? Where? Don't let it get me. The ghost fish didn't sound very scary. Nemo swam closer to the shadow. Are you afraid of ghost fish? He asked it. Yeah, squeaked the little voice. Who isn't? This time the voice didn't seem to be coming from the shadow. Nemo swam to his left. There, cowering behind a rock, was a little fish, glowing softly with a pale orange light. Nemo smiled and breathed a sigh of relief. The ghost fish wasn't a ghost fish at all. It was just a spooky-looking shadow that had been caused by the glowfish in the dark's light shining on an oddly shaped piece of coral. Nemo's fear was forgotten. Oh, hi, he called out to the glowing fish. Startled, the little fish darted behind another rock, then timidly peeked out from behind it to study Nemo. Don't be afraid, Nemo said. I'm just a little fish like you. He smiled and reached out his fin, inviting the glowing fish to come out into the open. My name's Nemo. What's yours? The fish swam out cautiously. Eddie, he replied, his eyes still wide. You mean there's no ghost fish? Nemo chuckled. I thought you were the ghost fish, he explained the whole funny story to Eddie. By the way, said Nemo, how do you glow like that? Eddie shrugged. I just do, he replied. My whole family does. Nemo thought he knew someone who would know more about Eddie's glow, Mr. Ray. So Nemo invited Eddie to meet his teacher and his friends. Then, swimming together out of the cave, they laughed over the way they had met. You really thought I was a ghost fish? Eddie said with a giggle. Outside, Nemo apologized to Tad. Sorry I didn't find your shell, Nemo said, but I did find your ghost fish. Then Nemo and Eddie told their tale. Before long, the ghost fish was forgotten. Instead, everyone wanted to know more about Eddie. Can you glow different colors? Pearl asked. If I touch you, will I get burned? Sheldon wanted to know. How come the water doesn't put out your light? Asked Tad. Nemo wanted to know about Eddie, what made Eddie glow. Good question, Nemo, Mr. Ray replied. See these patches on either side of Eddie's jaw? Inside them are teeny tiny glow-in-the-dark organisms. When you see Eddie glow, you're really seeing those organisms glowing. Everyone oohed and awed over Eddie's glowing patches. If you think that's cool, said Eddie, you should come meet the rest of my family. Eddie led the whole class into the cave to show them his glow-in-the-dark world, including his family. Nemo thought it was one of the most beautiful things he had ever seen, but there was still one thing weighing on his mind. Mr. Ray, Nemo whispered to his teacher, I didn't finish the assignment. I didn't find a shell. Mr. Ray laughed. That's okay, Nemo, he replied. I'd say you still get an A in exploring for today. And that's our story. I hope you liked it. Make sure that you like and subscribe and share with your friends. Bye until next time.